What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerdcastle for the first episode in our coverage of Tharsis. My name is Splattercat. Very stoked to have you here today as we hang out for a little while and check out this game. This is not going to be a game that's for everybody, but I've played it for a couple of hours now, and I actually found that I really like the game. If you're into board games, if you like Runebound, if you like Pandemic, if you like anything that's played tabletop and is a dice fest, you will probably very much like this game. But if you hate RNG and you enjoy having full control over everything, this is probably a game that you'll want to walk away from just like, eh. However, that being said, this is a game of skill and about knowing your options. The developers have come up with some very interesting ways to make the dice rolls more elegant and make them more functional. And I like some of the systems that they've put in play, and I'm hoping that other people in the future will put them into play. In fact, some of these things may have already appeared inside various dice games. I wouldn't really know. I haven't tabletopped in a long, long time anymore, but I used to be a big board game fan, and I've never really seen anything like what this game has going on. The rough storyline is that it's a dark sci-fi game about a voyage to Mars. We got a random phone call from Mars. Just, hey, what's up? This is Mars. You coming over? Aight. So anyways, a distress call comes from Mars, except that we've never been to Mars ever before. And so we send out a manned expedition to Mars to get there. You've got 7 weeks to get to Mars, and you have to survive a bunch of shit going wrong. The game is dark. The game is gritty. You can lose on the first turn. It's a rough game. This is a tough game for people that like tough games. And so I would say that it's a difficult game for people that like difficult games. And that is to say, just it's the difficult of the difficult. I've played about 7 or 8 campaigns now. I've won, I think, 3 of them. And the other 4 have just been disasters. And so the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to do 1 run per go. Unless it's excessively short. And then I might not do just 1 run. But if the video ends up being like 13 or 14 minutes, it'll be because we died early. This game can be beaten in 25 minutes, but there is an incentive to beat the game multiple times, which you will find here. In our new game menu, you unlock new people. This is where you select your crewmen. You can only have 4 people on board when you go on this journey. Technically, the game starts with 6, but you'll see. You'll see. And so you want to pick who you want. Every single character has a different thing that they do on a 5 or a 6. And so the doctor, if she rolls a 5 or a 6, you can use that 5 or a 6 on the die to give everybody +1 health that's in the same room as her. The game is divided up into rooms. This is a game that I'm going to take slow in the first place because it took me at least 2 to 3 campaigns before I fully understood what I was doing all the way through. The first campaign was a mess. I didn't really like it. The second campaign, I liked it a little bit more, but things still went really, really wrong. And then on my third campaign, everything sort of clicked and I started to understand what I was doing. There's a lot of information to absorb in this game. The specialist, he gets to reroll his die 1 extra time. Everybody else gets to reroll once. He gets to reroll twice or 3 times or something like that. I don't really like the specialist that much. You can use the specialist, I guess, to to dice scum a little bit, which can make her useful in selective situations. But a lot of the time, there are penalties for rerolling your dice, and so you don't really... A lot of times, you're going to be trapped against a wall and not really wanting to use that. The mechanic, when he rolls a 5 or a 6, you can discard that die to give the ship +1 health. The captain, he can, if he rolls a 5 or a 6, he gives everybody else in the cabin 1 extra die. Everybody has a dice pool that they roll from. These are hard to explain until you've seen the game in action. But anyways, there's the pilot. He ignores movement damage. When you move in between rooms, if you move across a room that's damaged, you take damage. That's it. And then the technician can discard a 5 or a 6 to get +2 to assist. Which assist is basically this little meter that fills up in the corner. When bad things happen, you can use assist to negate bad dice rolls. It's really, really useful. It's deceptively useful. I ignored it in my first couple playthroughs, and that was a mistake. Assist is actually pretty solid. You unlock characters the more you play the game, and in fact, Yuri Novak gets unlocked by beating the game once. You can see my kill and my win ratio here. I've won once with the doctor and died 5 times. I've won 2 with the specialist, died 4 times. I'm 1 and 1 on the pilot, so I'm doing pretty good on the pilot. 2 and 5 right there, and 2 and 5 right there. I will more than likely randomize a lot of this. It makes it more interesting. And so actually, we got a really good team right there. That'll work. The tech, I already talked about the technician. We don't need to view the tutorial. We're not playing on hard mode just yet. I don't know what changes when you play on hard mode. But other characters, I got him for beating the game. I got her for doing research, I think. Or no, she wasn't for research. What was she for? I don't know. I unlocked her for something. And so anyways, all of my victories, I've noticed in this game you either win flawlessly or you don't win at all. It's been every single time that I've won, I've escaped with every single person alive in perfect health with all of their dice. And every single time I've died, it's been on like the second turn, where your dice have just gone so wrong that you can't recover. The game is kind of more difficult on the front end than it is in the back. Psychologist. We have to earn research to get that. You can actually throw away die to get research points. That's one of the ways that the developers have actually really elegantly eliminated bad dice rolls, is that there's no such thing as a bad dice roll in this game. I mean, there is, but at the same time, if you're playing properly, you should be able to do something with any dice roll in this game. At least accomplish something. The commander allows you to repair stuff, I guess. I've done 1,500 repairs, 1,600 repairs. I played pretty much all night last night. I liked the game a lot. I stayed up way too late. I stayed up till like 4 in the morning playing. Cannibal, you eat 120 human meals. That's right, when your characters die, you can eat them. We're not going to do that right now, though. Although cannibalism can be really, really useful in certain situations. Let's start the game off. We've got the specialist, the mechanic, the captain, and the pilot, and that's a pretty solid team.
We had prepared for any disaster. For every disaster. Not all of them at once. We can't turn back, but how can we go on?
So, treat this like a board game. The way that I started enjoying the game and actually like starting to get what it was doing is when I started to picture it sitting on a table, basically. A cluster of micrometeoroids have crippled the Iktomi and killed 2 crew. J. Cross was ejected into space, and Mapaya Musgrave suffered a fatal injury. Your new goal is now to survive. We have 10 weeks to Mars at the top. Every single turn is a week. I actually hope that they put in a long version, like a 20-week, 30-week, 40-week version. I would like to play that, because 10 weeks seems like just enough to where I'm starting to get into the swing of things, and it's starting to get intense. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff to explain here. Let's go ahead and start with the basics, because I want this to teach players how to play as we go along. So first things first, let's start with the HUD. Up here in the top left corner, you have the ship's health. When this reduces to 0, you lose. That's all there is to it. You have impending damage, so it takes all of the events on your ship. So right here, we've got a control box, which has failed. It deals 1 damage. You can see that right there by that little red pip. That's how much damage we'll take at the end of the turn if we don't resolve this issue. That's all you need to know about this up here. You just want to take care of the damage, keep the ship repaired, and you'll be alright. This is how long we have until we win the game. On the final turn, you have to get everybody to the command module. Everybody who's not in the command module at the end of the last turn instantaneously dies, and the people who are inside the command module survive, and you win the game. You take bonuses. You get a score at the end of the game that determines how well you did. And you lose points for dead people and stuff like that. Assist. Whenever you roll a die, I'll explain this a little bit more. Actually, let's skip over assist. I'll tell you what assist does once we get to the point where it's going to be easier to explain. Food. At the beginning of every turn, you can choose to give somebody food, which will replenish 3 of their dice. If you look underneath their names, these little squares are how many dice they get to roll when they're going up against one of these challenges. The dice do exactly what they say on the box. The number that you get on your dice can be applied to this number right here. When you apply it to this number, it reduces by that much, and when you get to 0, the event is eliminated, and you no longer take that damage, or you no longer take the negative effect, like the -1 health at the end of the day. That's going to be difficult to deal with on this turn, and I don't know exactly how we're going to pull it out, because a 27 repair on the first turn is pretty nasty. These pips right here are the amount of health that each crewman has. You'll note that Pakal has really, really terrible health. He's actually quite wounded right now, and he's one of our hardest workers. He's got the most dice, so that's not good. That's really, really bad. On the left-hand side, it took me a while to find this. This little meter right here is how stressed they are. As stress goes up, I've never actually maxed out my stress, so I can't tell you what happens. I assume something really, really bad happens, though, because it's hard to max out your stress. Like, unless you consciously just keep screwing up, it's difficult to end up with max stress, because they'll give you little events that allow you to get rid of your stress pretty frequently. Ship info right here if you want to know what everything does. Flight control. It makes it so you take no movement damage. So every single one of these things, I'll explain it once I do this part. So I need them to get rid of this control box problem. So what you do is you click on a person, then you click on a room that you want them to go to. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The only thing that doesn't matter is the thruster. Everywhere else you can go. This is the part of the ship that blew up and sucked 2 people out into the vacuum, or killed 1 and sucked 1 out into the vacuum. It was our food storage. We don't have a lot of food now, so that's why there's going to be a food shortage for the remainder of the game. I'm going to send the specialist to fix the control box. In so doing, you'll find that we have 3 crew members in this area right now. It's wounded, so there's a little bit of smoke coming out. These guys are working on the control module, trying to get it fixed. Now, the way I know this looks complicated, but I promise you it's okay. It's not as horrible as it looks, as long as you have somebody to explain what happens. So, these up here are special status modifiers. The essence of any character's turn is that you just roll dice, and then you use those dice to accomplish things within the HUD. So, for example, when I roll some dice, I can use them to accomplish repairs. But if I roll a 6, it causes an injury, -1 health to this character. If I roll a 2, it actually freezes the dice in that position so that I can no longer re-roll it. Because, as you can see here, I have 3 re-rolls. I can re-roll all of my dice, some of my dice, whatever I want to do, but if they're in stasis, they're locked in that configuration. Let's do a turn, and I'll explain. So we roll our dice. We got a 6, and we got a 1. Now, you see what happened right there? Because 6 would have normally caused an injury. What happened is our assist point right there negated that negative effect. It took me a while to figure out what was going on with that, but once I figured it out, I realized how useful it was. You can store up to 3 assists at a time, and you want to save your assists for challenging things that cause damage to your characters. Like, there are events you can get where if you roll dice badly, they will be instantly killed, and assist can help you negate that. Even the really bad critical failures can help you with that. Now, we can use this 6 in a number of ways. We can put it in our hold. If you put it in a hold, that means it won't re-roll when you re-roll this die right here. I don't want that 1. I'm fishing for her to finish this event by herself. Unfortunately, she's not going to. And so what's going to happen here is I can use this 6 and I can use this 3 however I want. I can use the 6 as this right here is the room special ability. So if I use a 5 or a 6 on this square, it means that nobody takes movement damage anymore for the rest of the turn. That means that they can move through damage modules without taking damage. Pretty useful, and in fact, deceptively useful. I use this ability probably more than anything else. I use it all the time. It will be necessary for a winning game. All other characters have a class ability right here too. Sometimes you can take a 5 or a 6, and your character can do something with that 5 or a 6 to everybody inside of the room, giggity. And so if you want to do something to somebody inside the room, that's the way to get it done. The other thing that you can do is, I'm not going to do it right here, but you can take these dice, and let's assume that there's just nothing that you can use a 3 for. You don't want to waste it on a repair because it's got 4 left or something like that. You can't use it on the special abilities. If you've got the 3, you can put it into your research project. Every die that you have in these little slots right here adds 1 to your research. You can have a maximum of 6 research because the dice stay there until you spend them. They spend from the left. So, for example, if you have a full rack right here and you wanted to play Disaster Reduce, or actually, let's make this a little simpler. If you had a 1 sitting in your dice hold, and you had full research, and you played small health kit to heal somebody, the 1 would be used first. It works from left to right when using points. And so if you had a 1 right there and you don't want to spend it on anything else, you could play health kit, then put the 1 right back in there so that you had 6 research. I know it sounds complicated, but once you start playing, you'll get a feel for it. I tend to skip tutorials because I learn faster just by playing the game, and that's what I did. I skipped the tutorial, and it took me about 3 games to really grasp what I was doing while kind of referencing the tutorial every now and again for things that I was really banging up against. We're going to deploy the 6 right there, and that's going to lower that, and then I'm going to reduce that to right there, and we're going to finish that deployment. We need to get this handled because we don't want to take ship damage. It's unfortunate. Every turn they lose a dice, by the way, so be aware. It might happen to you. I'm going to have El Capitan over here see if he can help out with this roll. And he can. So he's going to resolve that. And so the event is finished. And now what I want to do is I want to take this dice right here, and I'm going to play it on his class ability, which gives +1 die for the next turn to everybody inside the module. Bam. And so you see how it refilled that for everybody? Don't underestimate that. The more die you have, the better your chances are of winning. If you don't have dice, you don't have shit. Remember that. You want people to have maximum dice as much as possible. Now our mechanic. Our mechanic's got to make a tough decision here. Normally, what I would like to do is have the mechanic roll all 6 dice in the food module, because you can grow food here, which means you can apply dice to people on the next turn. This module restores people's dice. This module right here lowers their stress. This module allows them to heal their health. And this module allows them to gain assist. And this module allows them to heal the ship's health. So if you needed help with that, you click on this and it'll tell you what every single room does. The problem with a lot of these events is that you either need a 5 or a 6, or in the case of harvesting food and ship repair, you have to roll doubles in order for it to work. So it can be a little bit RNGE and sketchy. I will probably bring him over to here. Let's roll our dice. We got a couple of nasty stasises right there. Actually, we rolled really, really well. We rolled like stupidly well. We've rolled a 20 out of 27 so far. That means he's not going to be able to resolve the event. But what he could do... Let's roll this again and see what we get out. Wow! What are the chances in 2 dice rolls to get 5 5s? That is like infinitesimally small. I mean, this would have been a 1 in 6, and then this would have been 1 in 6, like, to the 4th, I guess. So it'd been basically 1 in 6 to the 5th, I suppose. Although I think there's a change in the permutation if these 4 are locked, and this one is not. I don't know. It's been a while since my combinations class. There's our dead astronaut, just in case you're into that. Just sits there and floats the entire game. Got the easiest job out of everybody involved. What I would suggest is that we recover his health. You get full health from playing that dice right there. He's going to be feeling a lot better. And then what we want to do is we just want to play what we can right here. Just play what we can. Now, this is not going to be winnable unless we bring somebody over here to help with it. Rolling a 7. Oh, cool. He pulled it out. Look at you, man. Well, we resolved the first turn without issue. And so this is usually a really, really good sign. At the end of everybody's turn, it's going to do impending damage.
Moods are turning sour. The crew's and my own. But if I can't lead them, we're all dead. I need to get it together.
One of the attentions to detail that I really, really like is if you have a female captain, instead of having a male captain, the voiceover changes. And so let's say that we don't bring him and we don't bring him. Because I think the doctor, the researcher, and the specialist are all female. And if you don't have the captain, I think the captain naturally supersedes everybody. But anyways, if you don't have the captain and the pilot, the voice becomes female, which is pretty cool. So every single day you're going to have a choice you have to make. You can go with, all right, team, let's make sure we're getting all this work done safely. There's no sense putting ourselves in even more danger. We can take extra stress, but we get 2 free assists. Or we can go with, we've got to protect ourselves when we're working. We can't risk getting hurt, which will prevent stasis on the next turn, means there will be no stasis die. The downshot to that means that all the die will be void, and I think all the die will be injury. We haven't talked about void yet, but void sucks, and injury is even worse. So I'll probably go with this one, and everybody loses dice. This is actually losing in both cases, but unless you know the metagame, you won't really know that, and so you would always go with this one, in my opinion. So the pantry was destroyed. We got 1 food left. My suggestion would be that you distribute the dice as best you can. Try to keep everybody as filled up as possible. Every single day you'll get to pay somebody in food. I'm hoping today we'll get to grow some food in the little food module, in the weed module, and if we can do that and get everybody patched back up, we'll have a pretty solid shot at winning the game. If we can't accomplish that, it's going to be a slow, lingering kind of gut shot of a death. It's going to suck. So our new events. The MDM needs to be recovered. I have no idea what that means. And then we get -1 dice to all because the PFCS is damaged. I also don't really know what that means. So since I don't know what all these things mean, I'm going to send Yuri. His special ability is that he does not take movement damage. Now, normally, you see how the ship is configured? If I wanted to send Yuri over to here to fix the MDM, he would take a damage. But because he has a special ability that negates that, he can move over here without any cost to himself, which is really, really cool. Now, on 2s and 3s, we're taking injuries, but we have maxed out assists, so hopefully we'll be okay. Let's roll them bones, yeah? Ooh, what a roll. What a shitty roll. Let's go again. Okay. That's bad. That's really bad. So what we want to do is we'll play the 5 up there. We'll play the 1 and the 2 in our research slots. And then we're just going to have to... We'll play the 1 right there just to help out a little bit with that. Disaster Reduction, I would highly recommend. Disaster Reduction is the best ability you can possibly get in this little hand down here. So I forgot to talk about this. These are called research hands. You get 3 cards at a time. They cost this amount of research right here. And then when you pay that amount of research, they do the thing that they say on the card. So Health Kit will heal somebody. Disaster Reduction will repair 28 on an event. And Stimulants will prevent stasis. Don't like Stimulants very much. Don't like Small Health Kit very much. But Disaster Reduction is one of the best ones you can possibly get because it instantaneously will one-shot a very difficult event without you ever having to roll a die, which is great. It's fantastic. It's the best. So anyways, we might have to take some damage on this turn. Let's find somebody with some health and see if I can get him to fix this, because I need the mechanic over here, I think. Although there is an argument to be made that we could play the captain right here, use him to recover a die, and then have a better chance at resolving all this. But his chance of rolling an 11 on 2 die are pretty slim. His chances of rolling an 8 on 2 die are much better. Maybe I'll send the specialist. Let's send the specialist. She'll be alright. So we got a 5 and a 6. Pretty good turn, all things considered. That's been resolved. I'm going to finish that deployment. And now what I want to do... I would prefer... Cap, let's see if you can resolve this. It's a long shot, but it might happen. I've rolled double, so there's an injury. I've rolled double 6s before. It can occur. Come on, money. Ah! So that was a bad turn for the captain. Captain had kind of a rough turn right there. Little bit of a bad turn, which means that unfortunately, I'm going to take that 2 damage, I think. I think I'm going to take that 2 damage to the ship because we don't have enough dice right now to make it. He's got 5 dice, and what I need to happen is we need to roll doubles or triples. We've already got the doubles right there, so let's roll those. Come on, 4s. Ah, alright. We'll take the research then, and then this one's going to be a discardo, and that'll be that. We got 1 food out of it, though, so that's better than... I was hoping for 2 food. Was really hoping for 2 food, because that would have saved us, because that would put both of them up to 4, and then we would have been good.
I let my fear get the better of me, but the others have proven me wrong. I'm proud of how the crew has come together. I think we might actually have a chance.
I'm going to go with the +1 food here instead of the assist. We need the food very, very badly. Our stress levels are getting kind of high, but I think that will be the decision right there that saves us in this playthrough. Oh! Good lord. That's a bad turn right there. That's a bad turn right there. Okay. Who's got bad dice? You got 3 dice. Let's go ahead and resolve this real fast. I'm just going to play these for what they're worth and discard the last one. Let's go ahead and roll again. See if we can get like a 5 or a 6 out. I'm going to use his class ability to repair the ship. So there it is. We're a little bit better off. Now then. I love the soundtrack, by the way, too. The soundtrack is fantastic. I'm thinking... Man, that's a rough hand right there. Whew. That would be the one that I should have saved up disaster repair for. That one's bad. Let's send... the specialist. That void is all kinds of trouble, though. So void means that the dice vanishes if you roll that. Like, the dice is gone. You can't re-roll it or reuse it. And since they've got a spread right now, that means no matter what we roll, something bad's going to happen. It's a 50-50 shot on each die that something terrible is going to happen. It might be a better plan for us to send him to the PRJ fail. Oh no! That was a 5, and this other die knocked it over. Oh man, rough day for us, I guess. I'm gonna re-roll that 3 because I don't tend to keep things that are lower than 3s. Yeah, this might be the end of our day here. We might have had a rough day at work. I think we're done for. It's gonna be rough to fix this one. We're gonna have to get after it. We don't have a choice. I was going to say, unless we roll exceptionally well right now, bad things are going to happen. Oh yeah, we can use this one to regain dice, by the way, just in case you wanted to get dice back. I don't know if that's like what you're into, but you don't even need to roll doubles for it. You put 1 die in there of any kind, and you get 2 die back. And then if you match it, you get 4 die back. Pretty good little ability. Alright, Capitan, this is all you. Please don't void us out of this. Whew. I'm gonna play the +1 die. We're still in this. We're still in this, just barely, but we're still in this. I'm going to play small health kit on the captain. I probably should have played it on Allison, but error check would have helped right there. That would have been nice to have too. So we're going to take 1 damage from the PRJ fail. And we're going to lose a dice on everybody from the analyzer.
I've checked our food stores, and it looks grim. We lost more than half our supplies with the module. If we don't find some creative solutions, we'll starve before we ever reach Mars.
Alright, well. Yikes, -2 dice. I'm going to have to go with the ship. Sorry to say. He's a little stressed out. So we have Cannibalism for the first time in this turn. Cannibalism reduces your maximum health. It gives you 3 dice just like normal food was, and it raises your stress. I don't know what stress does, so we're about to find out. You can also kill a crewman if you want and eat him. It's your call. Completely and totally up to you. Wouldn't really recommend it, though. Wouldn't really recommend it. So we have 2 people who are really, really stressed right now. We're playing a lot of Void, which means I'm going to play... That's only a 4. I'm going to play her over here. We got a 3. I did a 4 out of 12. Let's roll again. Wow. Little better. Little better. Not that good, though. Not that good. Still resolves the event, which was the bare minimum that we were going for. But we lose a dice right there, which is a little bit disappointing. So for everybody else, Yuri Novak. Somebody's got to fix that. Somebody's got to fix that. Somebody's got to fix that. I'm going to send him to fix the... Let's fix the analyzer because we're losing a lot of dice right now. Oh yeah, your dice turn into bloody dice after you murder somebody and eat them, by the way. Or just after. That's fine because I can use that for research. It's unfortunate we got that one right there. A little disappointed about that, but we'll do what we can with it. I was hoping he would resolve that. Doesn't look like it's going to go that way. He's got to play against Void right here, which is all kinds of bad. Oh, he lost all of his dice. Perfect. Alright, well, that's the way things go sometimes. Our last-ditch effort is to hope that we max this event out. Oh, we lose. Oh, man, that's no good. That's that. Alright. So as you can see, our damage is greater than our ship's integrity. Goodbye, lovely little ship. It was fun. And so we fall to pieces. That's it. At the end of the score, you actually get yourself a final score. I've been trying to eat as much like human as possible in the last couple days because it unlocks a character, and I wanted to unlock the character. Our stress was really bad. Not the greatest run. Things went wrong. We got some really bad dice on that one. And I'm not talking about the dice we were rolling, but we got a lot of really bad voids. Voids tend to be game changers, as you can tell. Voids can be kind of nasty. If you get a lot of them, they can be difficult to deal with. If you don't get a lot of them, it can be a cakewalk. This is Tharsis. You want to see more? Well, let me know down below. I'll see y'all later. Hi to everybody.